Cracking, big dogs. Oh, back to HQ. It's let me turn this AC off. Now we're gonna turn it down. I need the AC in here today. It's fucking 80,000 degrees out here in New York. This is my bi-weekly live stream for my Patreons. This is a private live stream, so if you're watching this on YouTube, it was uploaded after. If you want access to the live stream while we're live, you gotta go sign up on Patreon. Gotta help pay the bills, baby. It's patreon.com/BDGE. Hot in Minnesota as well. Damn, y'all get hot out there? I thought it just snowed 24/7, to be quite frank with y'all. Kanye dressed me up like a doll. Hello, Trenton. What's up, Vatch? Vatch God. What are you doing, Brandon? Kanye dressed me up like a doll. Then I hit 6'9". So what's up, people? How we doing today? How's your weekends going? What kind of questions you got for me? Good morning. Gonna be 90 all weekend. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to complain because it gets cold as fuck here in the winter, and then it gets depressing. But it's really humid right now. So biggest news. I had the Melvin Gordon breakdown video a few days ago. My stance on that has not changed. I still think they get something done. I still think if he gets traded, I think it was just a drastic move. I do think he'll hold out into the season if push comes to shove. He'll eventually get his money, but he needs to play this year. Otherwise, he's not eligible for free agency. So if the Chargers don't want to pay him, then they'll probably have to move him. Kanye dressed me up like a doll. Hit 6'9". Tell him to hit the ball. So what's cracking? What are we doing over here, people? What are you guys doing on this beautiful Saturday? Besides looking at my ass. Did you see the video of Gordon talking about Bell's holdout last season? I feel like I saw it. I saw a lot of people mention it in the comment section of my video. I know it was basically, he said he's willing to do it, right? Like he would do the same thing, and he's glad Bell's doing it or whatever. And I'm not saying that if I had to put my money on it, I just think the Chargers are going to come around and give him the extension. But if they don't, I totally understand Gordon holding out into the season, and I do think he will if that is the case. Like I don't think they're not going to give him a contract, and then he just also suits up and plays without a new contract. I burnt the shit out of myself cooking yesterday. Like I had oil going. I don't know if you could see all the dots, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have like 4 or 5, and then I also cut myself. Cooking was fucked up last night, man. I really fucked my stuff up. Any interest in acquiring him in Dynasty? Not really. He's a hold right now. He's not someone I'm buying, and if I have him, I'm also not selling. Maybe if it gets close to the season and we're not seeing any progress, then I'm getting a little bit nervous. Maybe I think about selling, but I'm definitely not trying to sell him like on the low. I drafted him in my one startup draft this summer at like the 111. Yeah, I think it was 111, and then I got Joe Mixon at the 112. But I'm not looking to move Melvin Gordon. There's just too much uncertainty. I'm not one of those players that likes to make drastic moves based on, breaking news or just a report like this. So I'll wait until we gather a little bit more information. Maybe we hear something come out from one of the sides that they're close to a deal, or, if the Chargers come out and say, like, we're not looking to extend him, we're interested in trade offers, then, we'll get to that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Link isn't working. All right, bro. All right, brother. Kanye dressed me up like a doll. I'm about to leave for Jersey City in like 40 minutes. It's just one of these girls that I'm friends with, birthday. If you've been following me on the vlogs and shit, it's Renee, Lil Nene. I feel like every time I vlog something, it's always a party at her apartment. Have you ever played in an Eliminator league? Couldn't get in the SFB 9, but wanted to try something different. Drew, what exactly is an Eliminator league? Like if you play head-to-head and if you lose your match, you get eliminated? I feel like that doesn't make sense because that would only be like 4 weeks long, 3 weeks long. Is that like person who scores the least amount of points gets eliminated? Fill me in on this. clearly from my answer, no, I've not played in, but I'm interested to hearing what the fuck it is. Can you guys hear me all right? Like, is the air conditioning in the back really loud? Is that annoying? Like an annoying buzz? Also, Drew, I got your last payment for the weekend in New York, just to confirm with y'all. Of course, I'm looking snazzy, baby. We're about to hit the town. We're about to go drink some margaritas after this. Got to be looking good. Hi, Dad. What's up, nephew? What's up, son? You don't want that, Callie. You won't even need lotion if I take my shirt off. You won't even need your hands if I take my shirt off. Can we get some fantasy questions in here just from the start? Because if people like watch this video on YouTube and the first 5 minutes is me talking about you jerking off to me, they're probably going to click off pretty quickly. Not that that's like off brand, but I noticed that you have Hunter Henry ranked higher than OJ in full PPR. Yeah, that was so. Actually, me and Noah, we filmed this upcoming Tuesday's video yesterday, and one of the things we broke down were like that second tier of tight ends. And I'm pretty high on Hunter Henry because I think I really like the consistency. I mean, everyone likes the upside that OJ Howard brings, and I'm all on board for OJ Howard like having a really solid year. And I'm not sold on the volume that OJ Howard's going to get consistently. I know he's a big play guy, but I see a lot of games where he's going to be getting like 4 targets a game. And that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. So I think Hunter Henry is going to be like a really nice staple of that passing game, and he'll consistently give you like the 5 for 50 kind of games. But OJ Howard definitely has a little bit more upside. I don't hate either of them, but I kind of value consistency at the tight end position a little bit more. So with PPR, I think Henry will be more consistent, but with standard, OJ Howard's probably more likely to make those big plays and make it up with like yardage. It's still like super close, not like different tiers for me. Yannick paid me to ask you what your thoughts are on AP this year post Geis injury. Why don't you just pay me, Yannick? I'll consult with you. $1,000 an hour on AP this year post Geis injury. I mean, it's still a hamstring injury. It's not like he's got 2 months to heal up from it. But again, it just puts him a little bit behind. I still think it's going to be a running back by committee there for a while. And again, like, I've touched on this. I think AP wouldn't have signed a 2-year deal. He wouldn't have came back unless he really thought he was getting work, right? He didn't sign this deal to go sit on the bench for the rest of his career. We saw how pissed off he got in like New Orleans when he wasn't getting the touches and stuff, which is actually pretty ridiculous if you think about it, how good that running game is in New Orleans, and AP couldn't get anything going there. AP, I mean, he definitely, I adjusted my rankings this morning, and he definitely rose up a lot. I pulled Geis back, and AP went up in the rankings, but it's not like someone I'm excited to get. Last year, he like fell apart by the second half, and that was while he was literally the only fucking running back in that backfield. Think about it. Bryce Love was there at the time. Darius Geis was hurt at the time. Chris Thompson was hurt at the time. So if everybody just dies in that backfield, you can expect what Adrian Peterson did last year, but he's a year older now. So like, I'm not excited about AP. Yeah, because he had like 4 big games right in the beginning of the season that boosted his stats, and then he had like 19 games in a row where he rushed for like 14 yards, and if you put him in your lineup, you were fucked. So again, I reiterate, he only did that because everyone was dead, and he was still not involved in the passing game. I don't think he had a game with more than 3 catches, and that was like once, maybe twice. Kanye dressed me up like a... Oh, I didn't send the broadcast out. Oops. There go that email. My bad. Fair. How big of a leap does AP take in redraft leagues? I moved him up. I mean, he was like in probably like the 150 range. He's probably in the 120s range, maybe the 1 teens. I'm stashing Bryce Love for next year. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a dynasty league, I don't hate Bryce Love. Like, someone tweeted at me and Noah and said that he traded next year's 4th round pick for Bryce Love, and I'm completely fine with that, because next year's pick is devalued just because time is money, right? And future picks are a little less valuable than current picks, because you could do something with the players. They might turn into actual production right now. So if you could trade a future pick for Bryce Love, that's fine because you weren't getting anything out of whatever that future pick is now for Bryce Love, and you have to wait on Bryce Love anyways. Chris Thompson, I believe. Let me check out Spotrac and see what Chris Thompson's contract is like. I want to say this is his last year of the deal, and since they drafted Bryce Love, there's almost no fucking way that they were signing him. Yeah, he's a free agent after this year, so Chris Thompson will be gone. We'll see what happens with AP. Eckler or Jackson? Eckler, bro. Didn't you watch that Melvin Gordon video? Just of an eliminator. I'm like low key. What up, top dog? Low key. As a Melvin Gordon owner, like in the Go Fade Me startup draft we did, I drafted Gordon and Eckler, and it would almost be best case scenario if Gordon got traded to Tampa Bay, because that would, I mean, Gordon's value, in my opinion, doesn't fall off if he goes from the Chargers to Tampa Bay. It might be a little, anytime you're kind of moving teams in the middle of a good situation, it's probably a drop off, but I don't see it as a drastic drop off. So if he went to Tampa Bay, I wouldn't hate that, and that would just boost Eckler's value, obviously. So I kind of get a boost in both players, which would be kind of cool. Gist of an eliminator is it's a way to play fantasy football and contribute to a charity. 17 teams, 14-round draft. Week to week, last place gets eliminated. No trading, so last man standing is winner. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's eliminator each week, lowest scoring team. No, I've never played in that, but it's an interesting concept. I like that. Love would have been top 5 pick if not for the injury. Maybe. He had an awful last year as well, though. He had a great year prior to that and then had a really bad year last year. So he kind of has a couple things going towards him that I didn't like. I didn't necessarily think he was a great player on film. But again, that's just my subjective take. The numbers might talk differently. I wish we got to see him compete at the combine because everyone was saying that, he runs like a 4.3 40 or whatever, but you better when you're that fucking size. So if Love came out last year, if Love didn't go back to school after his 2,000-yard from scrimmage season, he probably would have done he probably would have been like a top 10 pick. Would have been a dumb pick by a team, but you do much of DFS? No, I don't play DFS at all. Not at all, but like very, very rarely, and I don't put out content based on it because I don't really care for it. I don't really think I'm that good at it, so I'm not gonna I give a lot of player analysis throughout the week, so you could take that and put that into DFS however your ass wants to do it. But at the end of the day, I don't know. DFS is not what I do really, so I don't want to push it on people just for the sake of fucking, putting out content and trying to make money from it. What's DFS? Are you fucking kidding me, Yannick? Yannick, you just start playing fantasy football this year? Be honest with me. Dak and Cousins or Baker? Give me Baker there. I can't tell if you're serious. Obviously you're referring to Animal and Snap's trade. You can give me Snap's side all day and tomorrow. I said my piece in there. Animal let go of the 3 best players in the draft. Y'all all started within the last couple of years, huh? Well, you're lucky, man. You found the right channel to fucking groove you in. Serious, I don't know what DFS was. Yeah, it's just FanDuel and DraftKings daily fantasy. Like GPPs and prize pools and shit. Fuck, I gotta hydrate. It's like 95 out here. I'm gonna be going to a fucking bar in Jersey City that's outside. So I'm gonna pass away at some point from drinking. I always forget to fucking drink water. Yeah, I'm all about that super flex. None of you guys answered me. Do you guys hear the fan in the background? Is it annoying? Like an annoying buzz? Kanye dressed me up like a doll. Then I hit 6'9". Tell him pass me the ball. No, it's not that cool. Maybe I can keep them on for my fucking videos then. I always turn it off because I felt like there was a buzzing in the background when I kept it on. It makes my apartment get hot as a motherfucker. You guys think Zendaya is ever going to answer me? She fucking better. I wonder what that was. Okay, so you can hear it. Yeah, I turned it to low, but like, honestly, my comfort is more important than the quality of this video. For being really real. Sounds like a helicopter about to land. Yeah, it's definitely fucking loud as shit, and everyone's just lying to me. I already knew you guys weren't my true friends. Then dial slide in your DMs, Nick. She fucking better. After all this work I'm putting in, I kind of wish I kept it all in the same thread. So if she ever actually looked at it, she can go up the thread of like 200 different tweets and maybe laugh at like one or two of them and be like, wow, he's kind of fucking annoying as shit, but also a little bit funny. Because now if she sees one, she'll go to my profile and then just see like 32 tweets about fantasy football and be like, who the fuck is this guy? Kanye dressed me up like a doll. You do you play fade the MTF public. Facts. Hey, we got Noah up to he's at 1,012 followers now, huh? Let's fucking go. We building personal brands up here like it's a fucking skyscraper. Who's the tight end for Tennessee? For the Titans? Well, there's Delaney Walker, who's coming back from injury, is probably going to be on the fucking pup list. And then there's Jonnu Smith, who's also coming back from an injury, and I don't know when he's going to be ready. So they're kind of fucked there. Tennessee's passing game is just going to be shoddy. In the redraft, what are your thoughts on Adams and Kelsey? First and second round. Yeah, it's a killer stack. I'm thinking about doing that in E-Town Get Down. So I have the 8th pick and then the 12th pick. So, and I get to keep either Aaron Jones or Kerryon. So I'm not like too concerned about getting an elite running back because I can stockpile like 2 in the 3rd and 4th and then have like 3 RB2s. So I might go Adams if he drops to me at 8, which I thought was a lock. But now with the whole Melvin Gordon and Joe Mixon, left tackle getting hurt, Todd Gurley, like 3 of the top running backs kind of fell back. And now I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to get fucking Adams at 8, which sucks. So yeah, Adams Kelsey is a killer duo in my opinion. I've got Zeke, Mixon, Chubb, and Kerryon. Jesus Christ, what are your comfort levels on them for Dynasty? Should I be looking to upgrade somehow? No, dude, those are like arguably 4 top 10 running backs in Dynasty. I could almost guarantee you, come this time next year, Nick Chubb is going to be probably a top 5 overall pick in Dynasty. I don't know. I'm sure one of the top guys, one of those top 4 running backs will somehow fall out of the top 4 come next year. Nick Chubb will be a top 5 pick in Dynasty next year. Yeah, but that's a killer fucking stack of running backs. I would sit on that. Use 2 as your starters and use 2 in flex. And your thoughts on him coming back from injury and his age? Yeah, don't touch Delaney Walker whatsoever. Those are literally the entirety of my thoughts on him. Have you thought about any ideas to get your views up to 100K on one video? I mean, yeah, like I've been going full clickbait this summer, but YouTube has gotten so saturated with content creators and it's getting harder to get more views. Like on average, obviously, my videos get a lot more views this summer than last year, but I also have a much bigger subscriber base. So naturally, my videos will have that floor of whatever, like 5,000 views per video. But it's harder to hit that ceiling just because if someone watches a video on the suggested side, like on the right side of your screen where it says suggested videos, there's like 19 other people trying to put out YouTube videos. And now they all see what like myself and other people are doing. And they just throw the same exact titles in. Must own, breakout, league fucking winner running backs, right? And those get a lot of views, so everyone uses them. And now it's getting to the point where it's like fucking annoying and people's quality of content is shitty and they just do it for those reasons. So that being said, it's not much I could do. I just got to keep producing very high quality content and hope that one of them kind of just pops off. Maybe someone with a big following retweets it or some shit or shares it with their audience. I'm all in on Chubb. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't be. Kanye dressed me up like a doll. Cooks is going. I'm a little bit skeptical about Cook now. Just like the more I look into all his injuries, I know the ones he hasn't suffered this year have been like, I'm not really worried about like the ACL tear or the hamstring, but he's dealt with injuries dating back to college and then dating back to high school. So the concern is there. And, as I've said many times in my videos, like I try to avoid risky players in the early rounds. So I'd rather have safety at that pick. And where Cook is going, where you'll probably have to use like an early second round pick on him, I'd rather take one of the top, those like second tier of wide receivers, whether it's Julio, Juju, Odell, Michael Thomas, or whoever the fuck the fifth guy was in there, fourth guy, whatever. You think D will be completely irrelevant this time next year? No, I don't think he's going to be irrelevant. I'd imagine he'll end up on the Chiefs. I just think there's a lot of situations, a lot of possible outcomes this year where D Will just doesn't perform up to his performance. Like he's just on a very short leash. They're going to give him every chance to succeed in taking that starting role, which is huge, right? Everything they're saying at a camp is exactly what you want to hear. And I saw, like, I tweeted this out, like, there's a report that someone from camp was like, D Will, a couple days ago, the one that came out, and was like, D Will is our starter. We're giving him every opportunity to become like the featured back. And I quote tweeted it, and I was like, how many times do we have to hear this before we believe it? And I think people took it a different way than I intended. The way I meant it was like, you should believe them by now. They keep saying it over and over and over again. Like, D Will is clearly the starter. Like, how many times we got to hear it before we believe it as a community? And people were like, yeah, this just makes me more skeptical. I'm like, why? Because they could easily have came out and said, like, a lot of teams do this. They say, yeah, you know what? We've got a lot of good guys in the backfield, and we're going to get them on the field and use them in all these different types of situations. And that's like, you'd rather not hear that than to hear your guys like, is not the feature back. So they keep telling you this. And then when he gets the starter's workload, like, don't be surprised, because they've told you this all year. So the point being is that I think he will start off really hot, and he will have those games that people expected him to have, like 6 to 8 games where his efficiency is really high. But there's a good chance that, if he underperforms, or if he even tweaks his ankle or some shit, that opens a door for a committee, because the situation is so good that if they put another back in there, that back's going to perform well. And then before you know it, it could just be splitting carries there. I think next year what we're going to be looking at is Damian Williams, maybe like the lead back and a running back by committee that you pick in like the 4th or 5th round. I'd be really surprised if we finish this year and we look back and Damian Williams had 350 plus touches and 1,600 yards from scrimmage and 10 plus touchdowns. I just don't see the workhorse role being there for the entire year. And it's only because there's so many different outcomes that I think that could affect why he doesn't end up that way. Do you think Cleveland moves Hunt via trade at some point? No, definitely not. They signed him to a 1-year deal, and no one's going to trade for him Like, they have to wait till like week 10 to see him on the field. Someone's going to sign him next offseason probably. Who's a smarter fantasy football player, Animal or Snacks? You want me to throw shade on my fucking employees like this? Snacks probably has the most fucking dumb words come out of his mouth on a consistent basis, but I can tell you from experience, I've played in a lot of different fantasy leagues with Snacks, and he is almost always in the playoffs. The guy just gets it done for one reason or another. He's a good fantasy football player. Did you ever look back to see how many subscribers you had this time last year and see what the gap difference is? I want to say I had around maybe 4,000 or so, somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000, and now we're closing in on 19. I want to say. The thing is, though, once you get some leverage on YouTube, and once you're one of the bigger like creators in your space, it's like it's kind of like an exponential growth, right? Whereas like last year, maybe I was getting like 20 to 30 new subs a day. Now this year, it's between like 40 and 60, and then next summer, well, depending on how saturated it gets, it'll probably be between like 80 and 120. So it's like the growth is bigger the bigger your channel gets, because you have that floor of, like I said before, like 5,000 views, And that in turn will tell YouTube like, oh, 5,000 people watch this. We need to share it with more people. So the volume is there just because it grows exponentially. Miles Sanders receives majority of the touches by week 5 or sooner. It's getting difficult. We're not hearing a lot of good things out of Eagles camp. I do still think he's going to finish the season as the lead back, but we have the hamstring injuries to worry about right now. Then we have these reports that he's not doing well in pass protection. He's not doing that well in the passing game, and I'm just like, we just haven't. I mean, we've seen like one positive report come out, so we'll have to see. Once training camp starts, we'll know a lot more about what to do with Miles Sanders. But right now, I definitely moved him back in my rankings a little bit because he missed time, and now we're hearing some not positive things come out. So he dropped down a little bit in my rankings, so in redraft at least. Kanye dressed me up like a doll. So many question marks. Yeah, 7th round is too early for me now, definitely. I think I moved him back to probably like a 9th or 10th round pick. And the Podfather said it really well. He could be like this year's Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack last year was coming into the year with a hamstring injury, right? You picked him in like the 10th or 11th round. He was like good, and then he got hurt again. Then he was like okay, and then he kind of blew off the second half of the year. He blew up. I could totally see something similar like that with Sanders, which makes it really difficult in redrafts because it's a fine line between wanting to hold that upside in the second half of the year and wanting that waiver wire space in the beginning of the year, right? If you hold it for like 6 to 8 weeks without thinking about someone that could blow up that you could use earlier than that, you kind of have to make that sacrifice. So if you're in a big bench league, like you have like eight spots on your bench or something, I think Miles Sanders is a good pick because you have the capability to hold on to him. That's easy. You got the most belts between Snacks and Animal. Well, Snacks has been in the league with us since we started it. So this will be the 11th year. Me and Snacks have been in it since year 1, obviously. Animal didn't come in until I think maybe 3 years ago, possibly 4. Animal hasn't won one yet. Snacks did. So he's played in more than double the amount of years that he's been in it. But Snacks, I guess, has one. Animal doesn't. Sanders or Henderson in full PPR? I'll take Sanders there. Like I don't think we're going to see Henderson in a much bigger role to start the year than Sanders is. I think both of them will probably be in like that 8 to 10 touch range, if Henderson is even at that. I could see Gurley still getting 18 to 20 touches over the first like 3 or 4 weeks if we don't get hurt in the fucking preseason. Do you ever hear MJD say Gurley is perfectly fine, but he calls the games up in the booth, so of course he will say that? Yeah, I heard it, but like I literally don't give a shit about what he said. Every report that's going to come from the team or from Gurley or from a former player is going to be that Gurley's fine. None of them want to damper Gurley's outlook. Anyone who has to be an actual reporter for a living is going to try to tell you the truth because that's their fucking job. Kanye dressed. Have you ever thought about promoting some of your leagues that you have on Flea Flicker because if some of your audience wants to play with you, that might help your views also? Yeah, I don't have any leagues open where I'm playing in with subscribers at the moment. When I do open up subscriber leagues, what I do is I make them sign up via an email form, so I capture their emails. And that's very important for building a business. An email list is extremely important. And it's something that most businesses completely push away when they're starting. And then when they're a couple of years in, they're like, fuck, I wish we had built up an email list. My email list, I think, might be bigger than my Twitter following. And that's huge because I could send out, like the other night, I sent out an email about slashing my draft guide in half, the price in half for like that night or whatever. I ended up getting, I want to say almost 75 sales just from that little cut in half. And obviously, you know, in terms of like revenue, that's only 37 and a half sales in terms of what I would have made. But that's also, I also wouldn't have gotten any of those sales had I not sent that email out and slashed the price in half. Plus overhead for keeping the draft guide up is $0. So any extra money is all straight profit on that. So with the email list, it's super important because I could send that out to all, like I own that information, you know, like I have your email, I have your first name, last name. But when you have like an audience on a platform like YouTube or Twitter or whatever, that shit starts getting depopularized, or if they shut down for a day or 2 days or forever or whatever, you get kicked off the platform for violating their fucking rules or something. Guess what? Your audience is completely gone. You own none of that information. They can do whatever the fuck they want to you. So email list is super important. And that's how I would do it, because if I open up a listener league or subscriber league, I'll have 500 people that want to try to get into it, right? And that's a raffle, and that's boom, that's 500 email lists. And out of that, maybe 5 or 10% turn into customers, and you know, it's all this fucking nonsense. Kanye dressed me up like a doll, and I hit 6'9". Tell him pass me the ball. I need to start doing more with Patreon. I think Patreon is a huge platform that I'm probably missing out a lot of revenue on. Because a lot of creators do a really good job on making that like a big piece of their business model. I never plug it. I always forget to plug it in my videos, and I could probably get a lot more Patreons on that. Plus, monthly subscriptions, low key, are way more fucking valuable than like one of you guys as a monthly Patreon is a lot more valuable than someone buying a draft guide. So say the draft guide is $30 and a Patreon membership is $10. The average Patreon member will probably stay a Patreon member for like 9 months. Some of them just forget and pay through. Some of them have been Patreon members since last August and might have not even jumped in a fucking live stream with me ever. Who's the guy you like the least in each of the first 3 rounds of a draft? Let me pull up some ADP. I'll pull up FFBC because they're the high stakes and they're most realistic right now. So the top 12 right now, the only guy I really hate in the top 12 is Le'Veon Bell. He's number 10 overall. If he's my first round pick, I'm not feeling good about life. In the second round, we'll forego Todd Gurley because he's still in there, but I think eventually he'll move down. You guys know I don't like James Conner in the second round. I'm not a fan of either of the tight ends going in the second round either. I would like them in the third round, but their ADPs in the second round, so I'm kind of avoiding them there for sure. I don't love Antonio Brown or Damian Williams in the second round either. They're more third round picks for me. So it's not like I see any of these guys going complete bust, but I don't see value in picking them in the second round. I think you're losing out on a lot of value if you get them in the second as opposed to the third round, which is the only way I'm willing to grab those guys. In the third round, things get a little dicey. Keenan Allen's really fucking early, huh? He's picked 26 overall. I don't like that. Obviously, I don't like Fournette. Risky as shit with one of your first 3 round picks. Devonta Freeman, AJ Green, all well documented on my channel of me not liking them. Kanye dress me up like a dog. Why has Keenan dropped ADP? He hasn't, bro. He's like 26. It's higher than I thought it would be. He doesn't score touchdowns, and the only value that he really brought was being such a game changer in PPR leagues because the number of targets and receptions he got. But there were so many players last year that went over 100 receptions. So it's like relative to other players, if you're not scoring touchdowns and really racking up the yards, you're valuable, obviously. Like you're a nice floor player, but Allen was like a second-round pick last year because you thought he had a lot of upside, but kind of, I don't know. They're also like a much – we'll see what happens with Gordon, but they're a much like heavier focused offense on the running backs, passing to the running backs, running it there. Like Rivers doesn't really throw the ball a million times a game. Thoughts on Goff without Cup 100% healthy? Yeah, Cali dog, probably because I said some shit. I'm telling you, bro, I got some juice on the draft ADP. I didn't think I really did, but the more I think about it, I probably do. Thoughts on Goff without Cup 100% healthy for a majority of this upcoming year? Yeah, it's definitely a little bit concerning. I mean, I was never that high on Goff, so I think he's still fine where I would draft him, right? I think I've had him at QB like 11, somewhere between the 10 and 13 range, in that range. So it's not like I had him at QB5. If I had him at like QB5 or 6 and we knew Cup was going to be a little less than 100% healthy, I'd move him down. But where he is fine because at the end of the day, it's still a very good offense. I think like those splits for Goff are pretty real between being home and away and cold places and shit like that. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's a good offense. He's still going to put up good numbers with a really good floor. It's like Kirk Cousins with higher volume probably. When does it get down meetup? Oh, we're fucking we're planning that now. I want to do it by the end of July, hopefully early August. So within the next, hopefully by the end of July. Did Dr. Moore say anything about Cup? Yeah, dog. Watch the fucking videos, Yannick. I repeat what he says to me. I don't have a medical opinion. I just say what he says. If players tear their ACL in weeks 13, like they are not in good position to be healthy by the start of the season. When is Dr. Moore's stuff going to hit your draft guide? So he has like 10 or 12 in there already, but he said he's studying right now for some kind of big doctor's exam that he has on the 19th or 20th, so in like a week. And then after that, he said he's completely focused on write-ups. So I would say maybe not this upcoming week, but the week after that and then the weeks following, we'll have a lot more write-ups in them. Waiting for those 3 must-avoid players by the doc. I'm pretty sure they were listed in the Leonard Fournette write-up. You might have to confirm that for me, though. No, we definitely talked about Cooper Kupp, I believe. Nope, Gurley was not in there. It was Fournette, Deonta Foreman, and I honestly don't remember the third player. What are some of the ideas that you guys are thinking? I'm not really sure. I usually go to the meeting with a few thoughts in mind, but not necessarily ones that I want to implement, just ones that I think would be interesting discussions to have. I think going either tight end premium or adding a second tight end or making the tight end spot a tight end / wide receiver spot would be cool. So something with the tight end position because it was just so fucked last year in fantasy. And then what else? I don't know. I haven't really thought of too many rule changes. I feel like we're at a good spot in terms of where our league rules and settings are right now. Kanye dressed, meet up like a doll. With the Cam having a shoulder injury risks and went 7 recovering, what the fuck did you say? Do you think he of both them? You're gonna have to repeat that question for me, Top Dog. I don't know what you just said. With the Eagles running a 2 tight end set, 45% of their offensive snaps, what is Godart's value in redraft? Realistically, I'm probably hyping him a little bit higher than I should be. Probably won't really have that much value, but he had like 4 tight end 1 weeks last year, so I think he could do that. The problem is like with him being a backup tight end, it's almost the same situation as like a scat back. I always tell you guys the pass catching backs. Not only like do you have to predict which games they are, but like that's the opportunity cost. So you're probably going to miss out starting them in games that they blow up, and you're probably going to start them in games that they don't, have those big upside games. So it's kind of like that with Goddard. Like he's going to give you probably like 5-6 weeks of tight end 1 weeks, but you're going to have to choose when those are. So without a real injury to Ertz, it's hard to get any consistency. Like I would never draft Goddard as like my legit tight end 1. Yeah, I think Kupp is a good stash for Dynasty too. But I just want to make sure I get him at value because, I mean, the most important thing is the upcoming season. Right? People do play Dynasty for the long term, but at the end of the day, you're trying to win this year. So it's like if he's not devalued because the most important season, which is the one coming up, is where he's probably going to fall back a little bit, then I don't want him. So if we can get him at a value, then yeah, I'm all in on Kupp because second year off the ACL is good. You think Kittle will repeat what he did last year? I don't. I think he's getting drafted way too early. Am I wrong in your opinion? I think Kittle's situation is one that we could just say Kittle's fucking good at football. He just smashed records at the age of 25 in his second season, and he's just really fucking good. So do I think he's going to regress? Maybe in some efficiency categories, but I think if you can grab Kittle in the mid to late third round, I don't think at the end of the year you're going to be disappointed that you drafted him there. Why is taking the NFL so long to decide on the Tyreek situation? I don't know. I don't really read into the legal things. I tend not to give my opinion on those things until we actually have conclusive facts. So with Hill, I don't know. I really don't know what the fuck the NFL does behind the scenes. Congate dressed. All right, I'm gonna stay on for a couple more minutes because I got to boogie out of here. I got a subway to catch, even though they come every like 2 minutes. But I got to meet friends at the subway, and then we're heading into Jersey. So if y'all got any more questions before I hop off here. Tariq gets 6 to 8 games. When will you take him in redrafts? Full PPR. Again, probably depending on how many bench spots you have. If you play in a shallow bench league, he's obviously a lot less valuable because you need bench spots like that. 6 to 8 games. I would probably say around like however many games he gets is how many rounds I'd push him back. Maybe add one onto that because I'd rather just be risk averse. So if he's getting 6 games, maybe, I don't know, maybe like the 8th round. Probably not till like later. Like I'm not going to be the guy who takes him in the 5th round if I have to wait 8 games for him to get on the fucking field. How many redraft leagues do you think you'll be in this year? I'm trying to cut out almost all of them, to be honest. I will do the E-Town Get Down in the Scott Fish Bowl, and then I will do the live New York City League that I do. And I'm trying to keep it to just those 3 and then whatever dynasty leagues I'm in. I'll probably end up being in one more. I have one with my college friends that I try to dip out of every year, but never works. You got to take slow steps for that. Like last year, I offed the commissioner duties to someone else so that I knew this year I could probably get out of it. With Cam and Wentz both coming back from injury, can you see them being top 5 quarterbacks? Yeah, absolutely. If I had to put money on one of them, I'm less nervous about Wentz's injury than I am Cam's. So they can, yeah, both of them, obviously. I mean, we've already seen them have top 5 seasons, so we know what the upside is. All right, Cali Dog, you know that's a fucking understatement. You know we're smashing the over. Yannick, are you in the NYC League? No. Drew is going to be in the NYC League. Drew's in it this year. So he'll be joining. Who won it last year? A kid named Mike. He's on Twitter. He's always fucking trolling people on Twitter. He actually won the Dynasty League I created last year, the first Big Dog Startup Dynasty League. He went like 13-0, ran the table, and then won the NYC League. He fucking dominated Big Dogs last year. It's kind of fucking embarrassing. How many roster spots do you guys have in your NYC League? Superflex, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, defense, and then I want to say 7 bench spots. I always say, like, when you add an extra flex or if you add a super flex, always add 1 extra bench spot for that. Unless you want to make it a little bit more competitive, then you can take away the one of the flex spots. Makes it a little harder. All right, I'm about to bounce out of here. Hit that thumbs up button if y'all are in here. I see there's 7 people, but only 3 thumbs up. It's very disrespectful, y'all. And if you're watching after the live stream, you can go check this out on patreon.com/BDGE. If you want to be part of the live stream while it goes on, I'll answer any of your questions personal to your league and whatnot. How did you finish in that league? It was a 10-team league. 4 teams made the playoffs. I made the playoffs. Did I get to the champion? I was in like 7 redraft leagues last year. I'm trying to remember. I made the playoffs. I might have got bounced in the first round. I'm not positive though. Yeah, big thumbs down, everyone, please. Hugo, I'm going to get this last question for you because you just came in. How do we feel about all the hype around the Cardinals players when they barely address their very bad offensive line? Yeah, I think it's very much in their range of outcomes that they're not a good team still. But their floor is much higher because they're going to run a lot more plays. So they could finish 5-11 this year again, but also, like, think about Cam Newton's rookie year when he was a top 3 fantasy quarterback, and their team was 6-10 or 5-11. They were bad, but they still produced on the offensive side of things. So I think we could see something like that, where if they're high tempo, they run a lot of plays, but still, let up a lot of points. They could be bad. So I mean, I'm way more excited. Obviously, I like Kyler. I like Christian Kirk. I like Larry Fitz. I still have a personal vendetta against David Johnson. Fuck that guy. But maybe I'll end up drafting him somewhere, unfortunately, and it'll fucking break my heart again. So I think the hype is probably high. I think people are just like completely crossing out the idea that maybe this just doesn't work, right? Maybe it just sucks there in Arizona again because they didn't address a lot of part of their teams. That's it. That's all I got for y'all. AJ Brown or Arcega? AJ Brown. Everywhere. Don't at me. I'm out. Goodbye. Thank you for joining me. I love you.